And we'll do this quite frequently on SMX Insider. We're going to play What If, and we're going to focus on these playoff points. We will have a playoff at the end of the 2023 season. We're going to look at what the standings would have been if we had a playoff in 2022. We'll talk 450 class this week. There'll be a 250 class as well. We'll talk about that in future episodes. So, Daniel, we'll put the stats. This is basically the combined points from Supercross and Motocross in 2022. What things jump out there for you?
Well, Eli Tomac had a pretty good season. I'll start right there.
Yeah.
He was pretty good, and with that success would have come the number one seed into the playoff if it was this season or if it was last season. You know what I'm saying. That stands out to me. Dylan Ferrandis is what stands out to me, too. You're talking about the 2021 champ of the Pro Motocross 450 championship. He wouldn't even make the top 20 in the playoffs if the format was intact this year alone. He had the injury in Supercross. We know he missed the motocross start of the championship with the thumb injury on press day, of all places. That would put him outside of the top 20. You know what that means? He would have to go through the LCQ at all three playoff rounds to compete for that championship. But there is one caveat when it comes to Dylan Ferrandis. He actually won a 250 Supercross championship that way. If anyone can go through the LCQ and win a title, it's him. And if it was a year ago, SuperMotocross format, he would have had to do it that way.
It just gives you an idea. Someone's going to be in that situation, although it's not as dire as you think. I mean, Ferrandis barely raced last year. He missed about 3/4 of the season. What sticks out to me is Cooper Webb and Marvin Musquin, they didn't even race outdoors at all. Marvin didn't race any in the 450 class. He did one 250 outdoor race. And then we had Ryan Dungey last year jump in for motocross. Didn't race any Supercross. Look where they end up in the rankings. Right in the middle. Comfortably in the top 20. Right around the top 10. They'll have a few points to make up in that situation seeding-wise. But I was surprised. I really thought, for example, Webb not racing outdoors. Oh, if we had a playoff scenario, he'd be out. He wouldn't even qualify.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this too, and I think year one's going to explain a lot when it comes to the points and the seeding and the strategies in place. But yeah, you said it.
Yeah, and again, we're just showing you the 2022 numbers to give you a preview of what it could feel like in 2023. And what also is interesting is Eli Tomac has come out and said he has a Supercross-only contract. The plan would be to retire after the Salt Lake City finale, but what if he's feeling good and realizes, even if I don't race motocross, I'm still going to be like 8th or 9th seed? Can I win 3 races in a row and make $1 million in the SuperMotocross World Championship?
Yeah, I'm guessing when he signed that contract for Supercross only, he obviously wasn't aware that this was coming, so you never know what's going to happen. I could see a scenario where he ends up still racing Pro Motocross. I could see a scenario where he says, you know what, I'm good. I'm done. I'm happy. I'm going to walk away. I could also see a scenario where he decides midsummer, hey, I can get in these last couple Pro Motocross Nationals, get myself re-warmed up, stack some points, get my seating a little better, and then come in and go on a blitz for those final 3. And Jason, we know that he's not the type that comes out firing early. I mean, last year at the round 1 in Anaheim, he was 7th. Last year at Paula, Moto 1, he was 7th. So he's not like a Moto 1 round 1 killer. But if he comes in the last 2 or 3 outdoor nationals and says, you know, let me stretch out a little bit, let me warm back up, he could come back for those final 3. So I'd keep an eye on that scenario. I think it's not only likely, but I'll say the other way. I don't think it's likely. I think it's something to look out for, though.
The last piece that's intriguing there, and as I said, we'll talk 250 class for the playoff scenarios next week. But there's a couple guys on the fence, and again, we can just use them as an example. We believe Jet Lawrence, they've already announced it. He's going to race 250 Supercross, 450 motocross, for example. Christian Craig essentially did the same thing last year.
Yeah, we'll start with Craig. He wins the 250 championship, which is great. Stacked a lot of points. Pro motocross, though, he was a top 5 guy, did really, really well. So he would come in seated decent in both. I mean, a chance to be successful in 250 or 450. He would have a decision to make if this was a year ago. And this could go a number of different ways. I mean, if you're feeling good on the 450, maybe you just roll on in and say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for that top championship. Or you drop back down on the bike you know you were good at earlier in the year and say, I can win this one a little easier. If it's never easy, but if it's going to be easier, it'd be that way. So for Jet Lawrence, he's going to find himself in the exact same position. 250 Supercross, 450 Motocross, and the decision will be made before the playoffs start. I think the easy route is to go back to the 250. I mean, he's been dominant on that bike over the last year and a half. But knowing them, knowing him and his team, they're not going to do that. So I'm going to take a leap of faith right now and predict that Jet Lawrence will race the 250 Supercross, 450 Motocross, and I bet we see him in the 450 class when we hit the Super Motocross playoffs.